would have happened in this room. And that includes cooking. So this is why the fireplace is so large, especially compared to the parlor, because they would have had to cook in this fireplace when they first built it. So that was one activity that they would have done in here. And there's another really important activity that would not be immediately apparent just by looking at this room. But the reason that John Bowne is so famous is because he was having Quaker meetings in this room. So John Bowne was a Quaker and settled here, and at the time there was no Quaker meeting house. If you go up to Northern Boulevard, just maybe like a 10-minute walk away, there's that Quaker meeting house that John Bowne actually helps build later on. But at the time that he lived here and first built this place, there was no place to meet as a Quaker. And so he had all of his Quaker friends come here, around 30 people, to practice. Well, the issue comes in when Peter Stuyvesant, who is the Director General of New Netherland at that time, because this area was controlled by the Dutch, he wants to put a stop to anyone who's not practicing in the Dutch Reformed Church. If we could all stay together. I've been reprimanded for this before. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. And so, anyway, he's trying to stop anyone from practicing any religion besides the being a part of the Dutch Reformed Church. And so he arrests John Bowne and sends John Bowne to jail in the Netherlands. So all the way back to Europe. And John Bowne, fortunately enough for him, knew that the Flushing Charter had a provision for religious freedom. What they called liberty of conscience at that time. And so he knew that the Flushing Charter had that provision in it, and so he appealed and won. And this is the reason why John Bowne is so famous, is because this is one of the first legal precedents for religious freedom in America, where there was a court that upheld the liberty of conscience, the religious freedom for Flushing. And so he was able to come back here and continue to practice as a Quaker.
So he was Dutch. Bowne was Dutch?
Actually, he's not. So even though this area was controlled by the Dutch, there was a large population of English people. So he was English. But the reason that he settled here was because of that charter, because the Dutch of this area had established religious freedom. He and many other people, like many Quakers, moved here. And you might ask, like, why would the Dutch even do that in the first place if later on they're going to get mad that people are practicing other religions? It's because at the time that they made the Flushing Charter, they really wanted settlers. They wanted to occupy this place, and they didn't care who you are, they just want people here to occupy it. They wanted as many I can't say the word.
Colonists?
Yes, thank you. Colonists at the time. So they just wanted as many people here as possible. And so, yeah.
When did the English take over from the Dutch?
Yeah, 1664. So not long after he was arrested. But even though he was not Dutch, he was, like I said, he's English, there's a lot of Dutch influence on the house. So the door that we came in is what we call a Dutch door, and it opens independently, the top half from the bottom half, they move independently. And that's so that in the summer you can keep the top half open and close the bottom half in order to keep animals out. So any squirrels, raccoons that are running around, and bears maybe, you'd want to keep them out of the house by keeping the bottom half closed.
So that would have been part of the original too, was the entrance and this room?
That is not the very first. So that's a part of the addition technically, but we'll see. They even have a Dutch door in the next room that we go in. Another Dutch influence though, are these exposed beams. And so this is much more Dutch style rather than English. And another that I would like to point out is this piece of furniture. So this large piece of furniture here is what we call a kast, and essentially just like a cabinet to keep all of your valuable possessions. And the Dutch like to have furniture rather than closets. They wouldn't build closets into the wall. Instead, they would build a piece of furniture to house all of their belongings. And so this would be the largest, most impressive, most expensive